So in today's video, you will learn the realistic and the easiest way to draw an eye, some mistake that my viewer and my student actually make and how to avoid them, and some useful and easiest technique to draw an eye, face and anything, and at the end how to determine the right shade, the right value for your reference. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right in, let's get started. Stay tuned until the end. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. So in today's video again we will learn how to draw an eye, but today's video is a bit more special because one of my viewer actually, they just DM me on my Instagram and then shared me the pictures that of her drawings and the references, and then I just first she want to learn the face. I will tell you how to draw a face, and then like I make the separated video for her. But yesterday actually she sent me the picture of an eye that she tried to draw, and then the reference is actually already drawn eye, and she actually want me to draw and teach her how to draw an eye. So that's why I make a separated video for you. And I always say that if you guys ever have a problem while drawing, sketching, shading, anything, just comment down below and let me know. And if you want to send me, just DM me on my Instagram. I'll put the link on the description, and just show me your art and just tell me that what you want to learn, what you want the next video topic to be, and I will just make a separated video for you. I always promise. So here is the pictures that she sent me. This is the reference that she used, and this is the drawing that she actually drawing. And this is like actually okay, it looks okay, like the proportions are right, but the mistake that she actually makes it looks not realistic and not like deep, and you know. So yeah, we will cover those mistakes, and yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so right now we are on my phone screen and I'm using the IbisPaint X app, very useful app. And the first mistake that she actually makes is that she makes the eye so much lighter than a reference. Like as you can see, the eyeball, from the starting of the eyeball need to be darkest, and as you can see that she makes it so much lighter. As you can see, the reference is a darkest eyeball. The starting of the eyeball is so much like the upper side of the eyeball is so much darker, and as you can see she make it so much lighter. The highlight is lighter as well, and the edges, as you can see, she used this shade for the edges of the eyeball, as you can see here. And actually the edges of the eyeball and the pupil is the darkest, and as you can see, look at this one shade and that one shade, just match it. It looks so much, this one is so much darker and she used it so much lighter. And she actually tell me that she used a 6B grade pencil, 4B grade pencil, and honestly I didn't see any 6B and 4B grades on this drawing. So then I thought that what is like actually she did, like the 6B is not seeing anywhere in this drawing. As you can see here, she didn't do any shading here, like no shading. But when here you can see on the reference, like as you can see, the eyelid line is not completed. You let the eyelid line in the between, and as you can see how much darker is this eye is. Like here, the where she didn't add any shades, this eye have a darkest shade, and it looks like the lightest looks yellow because this drawing is drawn on a skin kind of paper, like there's a sketch paper that have a skin surface. Maybe you have it. So as you can see, here is this one eye tones, the shades they use, and then the reference that she used the shades. So this is the clear that she make it so much lighter than a reference, and this is the huge mistakes. And she's telling like it looks like a HB pencil drawing, but she actually tell me that she used an 6B or 4B grade pencils. Now let's show her and you that what she actually, the mistake she makes. Now I'm using the 5B grade pencil. Now When, like me and all the artists says that don't add too much pressure on your pencil, we don't mean that you just don't need to add any pressure, just use it like you just didn't even hold it. No, we don't mean that. We mean that you don't add too much pressure on the skin area, but you have to add pressure. Now after thinking a lot, I know that what she actually make. Now when we say that don't add too much pressure on your pencil, we said like this kind of pressure, but on the skin area, this kind of pressure. Don't add too much pressure on your pencil while you are shading a skin. Like you have to add that much pressure on the darkest areas like the eyeball and some deepest darkest shadows of the skin. You have to add a bit pressure, like not that much pressure. That much pressure you only have to add while you're drawing a darkest eyeball. For the skin, you need to shade it just like this. This is the skin shading technique. Now here I will show you that. Now I draw the two eyeballs. This is the first, this is the darkest eyeballs that this eyeball I just shaded darker, and then as you can see, and this one eyeball, this is the lightest one. Now I will show you the difference between the dark and the light. Like you can see, I'm still using the 5B grade pencil, and the pencil tip is sharp. As you can see, 5B is like darkest pencil, if we say, like not lighter like HB. Here I'm not adding any pressure. As you can see, I'm not adding any pressure, and I'm shading the eyeball. Like I'm not diving into too much details, but I'll just show you. Here you can see that it looks like I use a B grade pencil. Like it looks like I'm using HB grade pencil or F grade pencil. As you can see, so much lighter, but I actually use a 5B grade pencil. Now here I just add a bit pressure on my pencil. When we say don't add too much pressure, we mean this pressure. As you can see, it's actually damage a paper. So we mean this, like as you can see, damage a paper. So as you can see, but this kind of pressure you have to avoid. But this pressure, you have to add this pressure if you want your eye looks realistic. You have to add. As you can see, now I'm adding a bit pressure. As you can see, I'm not adding too much, like the pressure that I show you. I'm not adding that pressure, but I'm adding a pressure, because without the pressure, how your pencil be able to show their darkness? If you didn't add a pressure, how it can be darker? As you can see, I'm adding a pressure, a bit pressure. As you can see, look at the difference. Look at the difference between the light and the light. It's okay. No one tell that I use the same pencil for both of them. No. Because if I just tell anyone that which pencil I'm using for this one, like you can see, you have to add that much pressure and don't add that much pressure. They say that I use a F or B grade pencil for this one, or HB, or this one I use a 5 or 4B grade pencil. I mean that you have to add a pressure if you want the realisticness. You have to add, like, don't just, as you can see, don't just block your pencil tip, but you have to add pressure. You have to add pressure if you want your drawing to be looks realistic and darkest, because without the darkest your eye looks realistic. Like this kind of, you have to, like if you're using a 5B grade pencil for skin shading, use it like this, and this you have to use it for a eyeball, not like this but like this. As you can see, for the eyeball, this kind of pressure. I hope you understand what I mean. I hope you understand. Like I'm still just speak some word wrong because I'm a bit nervous, and I actually don't have a good quality mic, so that's why. Now this is the mistake that she actually make. Now let's draw it, and actually I will actually show you what you actually need to do and how to understand the shades. Let's go. Now here again I am on my phone screen, and here we will understand the shades. Let's understand the shade, and I actually cover how to understand the shade and how to use the IbisPaint X app on my this one video. So if you haven't watched that one, go watch it. So here, as you can see, first you need to look at the darkest shades of your reference. Just tip that area, click that area and hold it, and then your brush get that color. Then straight along and go draw a round circle, and then you have a shade. As you can see, I'm just looking for the darkest shade of the eyeball, and then the iris, and the lightest shade of the iris. As you can see here. I will send this picture later to her, and then she know that what shades she actually need to use, because I saw that many people actually have a trouble while drawing, while like looking for shades, because they actually just do a mistake of the just understanding, determining the shades. So yeah, here is, and as you can see, the darkest and the lightest. Now here you can clearly see that where is the darkest and where is the lightest. But if you want like more clear video how to use this app and how to like actually understand the shades, so go watch that one video. Now we have our shades. Now let's draw it, and I will actually teach you that what you actually need to do. Let's go. Now here is the reference, as you can see, and the supplies, the tools that I'm going to use, the supplies is I'm going to use the 2H grade pencil. 2H grade pencil I use for outline because it's a lighter pencil, but it's okay if you have a HB grade pencil, use that one. You don't need to use the 2H grade pencil, it's lighter, that's why I use. And again, the second I use a B grade pencil. For skin, I'm not using that much grade pencil, I'm using the pencil that I remember that she have. And then the 4B grade pencil I use it, and then the 5B grade pencil. It's okay if you don't have a 5B grade pencil, you can use a much darker pencil. I don't have a darker pencil yet, so that's why. And I use a soft brush and a cotton bud. Cotton bud works so well with the darkest shadows. And then if you don't have cotton bud, you can use a tissue and a normal eraser. And I also use a dark ball pen. I didn't show it here right now, but I use it. And I also use a white charcoal pencil, but it's okay if you don't have white charcoal pencil, you can use a normal. Now first you have to just draw the dot, that how much bigger you want your eye to be. Like draw it for the inner corner and for the outer corner point, and then the thickness. Look at, just close, pay attention closely, look at closely to your reference, and just determine how thick, horizontally how thick your eye is, and then point that area, as you can see. And then like we have now, here have both thickness, the vertical thickness and the horizontal thickness. Now I just point for the inner corner, how big the inner corner is. Now again, when I know the inner corner, now look at the space between the iris and the inner corner end is. Once you determine, trace a line for the iris. Again, just focus on the space, because without it, you always start the drawing the iris with the inner corner. Look at the space between the inner corner and the iris is. Now I will draw the point that we draw. Now we will make it turn it to lines. Now we have like this triangle kind of line. Now for the end of the, now look at the thickness of the iris, how big the iris is, and then point that area and draw a straight line. Now as you can see, it's a side profile eye, so we make that, we draw that pattern. This is this pattern for the side profile eye. Yes, you can use it for a front eye, front profile eye if you can. And now because the side profile eye, we also just trace these kind of like the side lines to make it like much more easier. Now as you can see, this is our pattern, this is the pattern that we are going to use. As you can see, I hope you understand, and I hope you just find it like much easier. And now the horizontal, the vertical thickness of the iris, the vertical bigness of the iris, I also painted. Now this is our pattern, this is the pattern that we are going to use and help us to draw the side profile eye. Now always start drawing the eye with the inner corner side. Always start drawing, always draw eye with the, start with the inner corner side of the eye, because this is like the much easier way to draw the eye. Now as you can see, you following this pattern, I draw the eye like this, are much easier. But after that pattern, you still need to look at your reference, and you still need to focus for your reference. If you want your drawing to be looks realistic and just like a reference, you still need to focus on the small thing, like trace a line and then again look at your reference, then trace again, look at your reference, time to time look at your reference. Now as you can see, we actually just draw the lines for the eyeball, so I don't have like a I'm not worried to what if I draw the eyeball too big, what if I draw it too small, because we already have the supported line. As you can see how easier I draw the eye, like, and it's much easier. Don't just think that it's too hard, just believe in on yourself and do it. Now as you can see, after that I draw the water line and then the eyelid line for the eyelid. The line we draw first is for the eyelid, as you can see, for the eyelid. I hope you understand. I hope you think that it's easier way to draw that, because this is like my own way. Like, and I not always use it because I'm not a beginner. I can just directly draw the eye, but for beginners this is like a much easier way I find to draw the eye. Now for the eyebrows, as you can see, we just directly start drawing the eyebrows. But if you want, like, I already cover how to draw the eyes, nose, lips, and eyebrows, eyelashes on my this one video. So if you haven't watched that one video, you have to watch that one video. Maybe there's the kind of patterns you like that I use for this one video. Now I just erase, after drawing the outline, I erase all of those unnecessary lines. Now let's shade it. For shading, first I use a 5B grade pencil. I shortly start drawing with the 5B grade pencil, because the eyeball is the black darkest eyeball, so that's why I use a 5B grade pencil. And I first start just edges, and then I just secure the highlighted area, and after the highlighted I just look at closely to my reference, and I determine that the starting of the upper side of the eyeball is the darkest, and always the upper side is always darkest, no matter which eye you draw. Upper side is the darkest because the pupil is located like the upper, near to the upper side. So now after that I just shade it with the darkest pencil, and again I add a bit pressure, but not too much, but I add a pressure. Don't just release your pencil, like, don't just free your pencil. You have to add a bit pressure if you want your eye to be looks realistic, your iris, because if the iris is not darkest, your eye never looks realistic. Never. Iris, eyelashes, and the eyelid line needs to be darkest. Now as you can see, I shade it and I blend it with the cotton bud, and cotton bud again works so well with drawing pupil as well. Now as you can see, I'm just adding a layers because I use a 5B grade pencil, and 5B grade pencil is not darkest. Now I'm using a 6B grade pencil. Sorry, I didn't just say it, but I actually use a 6B grade pencil, but it's okay if you don't have 6B grade pencil. It's okay. It's not a big problem, as you can see. But I'm adding a pressure because I want my 6B to work like 6B. If I didn't add a pressure, my 6B works like a F grade pencil or maybe a B grade pencil. Now as you can see, and now I'm using a B grade pencil because those I also find that the harder pencil tips is like much thinner and like much sharper. So that's why sometimes I use a lightest pencil on the darkest area, because I want much thinner and sharp tips. Now as you can see, after that I'm working on the white of the eye, and again your white of the eye need to be shaded. But sometimes people just shade it like look at cheap grainy shade it and just blend it and they think that it's done. No, if you just pay attention to your white of the eye, your white of the eye is like somewhere it's like darker and somewhere it's lighter. So you have to, after shading, after blending, you have to just pick your eraser and erase it somewhere and make it highlighted somewhere. Then you just see that your white of the eye looks much more realistic. Now I draw the shadows of the white of the eye with the B grade pencil. I draw the shadows and then I just trace the line for the waterline. Don't ignore a waterline, you have to draw a waterline. Now I just focus on the shadows of the white of the eye, because the eyelid shadows is so much important with eye, because after drawing the eyelid shadows, your eye looks much realistic. Now for the inner corner, always, no matter you are drawing face or anything like eyes, face, anything, always start with the darkest shadows and then slightly go with the lightest. For the inner corner, I first darken up the darkest shadows, and then after blending the lightest, I already have a layer, like automatically have a layer. Now after now I'm drawing the eyelid line. I first draw it with the B grade pencil, and then after that I use a 5B grade pencil for it. But if you are like feel much more confident, just straightly start with the 5B grade pencil. But if you draw first with the hardest pencil, so it's much more like easier for you to erase after it's if it's drawing wrong. Now after that I use a 5B grade pencil, and again the eyelid line also need to be darkest. If the eyelid line is not darkest, your eye never looks realistic. Eyelid line again needs to be darkest. Now in this point my eye starts shining. I'm so sorry, like I didn't just realize at the time that my drawing starts shining, and then after that I just change my camera pose when I realize it. Now after that, as when if you remember the reference, the front area of the eyelid is the darkest, and I have a darker shadow because it's a side profile eye. That's why the front eyelid, the front area of the eyelids need to be the darkest and have a darkest shadows. But what mistake she make is that she just didn't add any shadows of the front side of the eyelid, so she have to add, you have to add it. And now after that I use a B grade pencil, and again for the skin between the eyebrows and the eye, I first focus on the darkest shadows. I first shade the darkest shadows, and I tiny bit pressure, a tiny bit pressure with the face. You have to, if you see somewhere is darker, you have to add a tiny bit pressure and just blend it out. Now I'm using a black ball pen, but don't use a black ball pen if you are beginner. I always say don't use a black ball pen, use a black color, dark color pencil if you don't have a 6 or 7 or 8 big kind of darkest pencil. Now for a skin, as I say, I sometimes use a 5B grade pencil for a skin, but with the very light pressure. But for the darkest shadows, I add a tiny bit, like a tiny bit, sorry, for like a tiny bit pressure for the darkest shadows of the skin, because the darkest shadows you have to use the darkest pencil for the darkest shadow of the skin. Now for the lower eyelid, I first start with the darkest shadows. I always say start with the darkest shadows, and the darkest shadow of the lower side of the waterline and the lower eyelid I first dark it enough, and then I use a for the soft brush is work so well with the skin. So if you are drawing skin, use a soft brush like soft eyeshadow brush, it works so well. Or if you don't have, the tissue paper works much better than a brush, so if you have a tissue, use it. And now I blend it out, and again with the 5B grade pencil, again I just draw darker shadows with the 5B grade pencil. I focus on the darkest shadows of the lower eyelid and blend it out. Now after that I draw eyelash, and I forget to say that don't draw the eyelashes with the outline. Like some people draw it, but don't draw it, because if you want the want to shade your eyelid much clearer and much cleaner, so don't just draw. I always draw the eyelashes at the end, so it's okay if you are beginner, draw it, because maybe you have a problem after shading eye and then drawing the eyelashes.
Step back and
now I just focus on some darkest areas and just dark it enough with the 5B grade pencil,
much darker.
Now with the blend it out, and then as I lower eyelid it has some like wrinkles lines, so I use a ball pen, but don't use a ball pen. Now for with the ball pen, with the darkest ball pen, because black, I draw the eyelashes, because if you remember the reference, the eyelashes is so much darker, so that's why I draw it with the ball pen. Now with the normal eraser, I add some highlight of the lower eyelid and some highlight. Now look at, when I add some highlighted on the white of the eye, as you can see how much realistic the white of eye start looking after just adding those tiny bit white highlights. So always need to add a highlights on the white of the eye, because white of the eye have some lightest area somewhere. Now working on the waterline, blend it out, and then now for the eyebrow, actually first you have to shade it the surface for the eyebrows. You always need to first shade it this for the surface for eyebrows, and then I start drawing the eyebrows with the 5B grade pencil. And after that I use a black ball pen, but don't use a black ball pen because I don't have a darkest grade pencil. Now as you can see, I'm using a 5B grade pencil. After 5B grade pencil, I'm drawing here, I start drawing with the darkest pencil. And now you are just thinking that why I just didn't draw directly the black dark ball pen, why I just first draw it with the 5B grade pencil. Because if you focus on your reference eyebrow, some hair is lighter, some is the darker, like the lower eyelash hairs is the lightest, and then the upper one is a darker, and the lower side of the eyebrows is darker and the upper side is lighter. So you have to first draw it with the lightest pencil and then use the darkest pencil. Now with the white charcoal pencil, I add some highlighted, but it's okay, no, don't have white charcoal pencil, use a whitener. I also use a whitener sometimes for my drawings, and it looks like it works much better. Now here we are done, and I hope you understand. I hope you learned something. I hope this video is helpful for you. And yeah, here is the final So here is the final look, and I hope that you liked today's video. I hope you learned something. I hope you find this video much more helpful, and I hope her and you feel more confident to start drawing again the eye and understand the mistakes and understand what I actually mean of pressuring. Thank you so much guys for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Thank you so much and have a nice day.